Over the last 50 years, my first guest has worked as a producer, arranger, conductor, and musician alongside some of the biggest names in entertainment, from Will Smith to Oprah Winfrey to Frank Sinatra and Michael Jackson. And just this week, he released his autobiography and a 4-CD box set of his music. Please welcome Quincy Jones.
Cooking. Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I have to say, I was aware of a lot of the things you had done, or thought I was aware. Then I started flipping through this book, and you are like Forrest Gump. You, and in a good way. Not in your mental capacity, no. You have known everybody. I mean, I'm just shocked at all the people that you have talked to. I don't think there's a figure in pop culture that you haven't known that's been a major figure in the last 50, 60 years.
Did you hang out with Ice-T last night?
Yes, I did. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Ice-T was on the show last night, and we always hang out afterwards.
I could tell, man. I could tell you were tight, you know.
You could tell there was a real bond there between me?
But seriously, though, Conan, before we go, I have to tell you, my daughter thinks you're really hot. She's graduated from Harvard, too, and she said you're one of the hottest Harvard graduates. Is that true?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't usually say that I went there because I'm embarrassed about it.
My daughter did, though.
Well, yeah, right. No, so is your daughter there now?
No, she graduated 4 years ago. She's
great.
in Boston Public now.
Well, the important thing is she thinks I'm hot.
Oh.
I think we got to stick with that. That's the important information. Now, you are, of course, I said up front, you have the coolest nickname, Q. I love that that's your name,
It's
Q.
quick.
It's quick. Yeah. It's great. Who gave you that nickname?
Frank Sinatra.
That's so cool that you can just say Frank.
Francis.
And your middle name, which I only found out when I looked at the book.
Don't do that, please.
I think people should know your middle name.
Oh, my God.
Delight is your middle name. You have to. It's great.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Trust me, if anyone can make that name cool, you can.
There's 2 T's, too.
2 T's?
Yes.
Delight?
My father had the same name, so it's not my fault.
Now, huge success with a lot of people, but with Michael Jackson and Thriller, a kind of success that I don't think will ever be equaled. I can't imagine it being equaled. How many records did Thriller
It's
sell?
almost 50 million.
50 million, okay. That's the same number of people we reach every night. In my mind, so you have a very close relationship with Michael Jackson. You have a nickname for him, which is?
Smelly.
Smelly. Does he have an odd odor? Is that
No. That's what his mother thought, too, when I said that. She was not happy about it. But he didn't say bad words then, and so I'd say, that's really funky, man. He'd say, no, it's smelly jelly. It's smelly jelly. So we ended up calling him Smelly.
Because that was like that's him being profane, is saying smelly jelly.
That's really getting down, yeah, smelly.
He's also legendary for being, I mean, he's a guy that can perform in front of millions of people, but in the studio, if it's just one-on-one.
Very shy.
Extremely shy to the point
shy.
that he couldn't sing in front of you, could he?
No, he used to make me sit on the couch and put my hands over my eyes, turn the lights out, and he'd sit behind the couch.
See, if I were him, I'd like a one-time just leave. You want to hear a really great new song? Listen, close your eyes and then just leave. Yeah. And 2 hours later, you're like, Michael! He's going to try that now on you sometime.
Well, that's happened, too.
Something that a lot of people are aware of a lot of the things you've done. I don't think people are aware that you wrote some great TV show themes.
I started in TV.
Ironside, great theme for that show. And I think probably, maybe one of the best TV themes ever, Sanford & Son. You wrote that. That's
right, 20 minutes. Just like Soul Bossa Nova. I wrote that about 39 years ago. And then Mike Myers made it the theme of Austin Powers, and it's back again. I can't believe it.
And it took you how long to write?
20 minutes, yeah. Because I worked with Fred Fox and Apollo a long time ago. And when Bud Yorkin said, I don't want you to see the pilot that we have for Sanford & Son, it was based on an English show called Steptoe and Son. He said, I said, who's in it? He said, Red Fox. I said, you're kidding. On national TV? Because he was
one of the
man.
bluest comics ever.
He
Yeah.
would close down the Grand Canyon.
Yeah. And so you kind of wrote that theme then, knowing what personality would be behind the show, because it fits his personality so well.
Exactly who he was. In fact, when he used to work with Billy Eckstein in my band at Apollo, he'd come out with no music. I said, that's pretty tacky. And so I'd write about 8 bars so he could get out on the stage, you know.
What instrument is that in there that's so distinctive, that kind of...
It's a saxophone, but it's got what they call a baritone. It's an octave divider on the saxophone. So everything he plays, you hear another octave. It's fat.
Now, a lot of people think of television as being, it's great, it's fun. It doesn't always get the respect that I think it should get. No, that... but people can be a little dismissive of TV. I happen to think, I'm a big TV buff, I think some of the great orchestral arrangements were on TV shows in the 1960s and 70s. I mean, great. The Hawaii Five-0 theme is just great music, and, as is a lot of, you know, not the Charles in Charge theme. I don't... You didn't write the Charles in Charge theme, did you?
Yes, I did.
Oh, my God.
No, but,
Charles in charge of our days and our nights. Charles in charge of our wrongs and our rights. I need Charles in charge of me. You're never coming back here again, are you?
Oh, yeah.
It's giving this look like, who the hell is this guy?
But a lot of jazz musicians like Pete Rugolo and Mancini and jazz musicians, Johnny Williams was jazz musicians who wrote all the themes in those days, and so Benny Carter. So you got a lot of big cooking bands back then.
Yeah, like the Wild Wild West theme was just a great, I mean, and the arrangements and full bands. And speaking of arranging and music, you're good friends with Leonard Bernstein.
Exactly.
And you have a really funny story in here. I'd just love to hear you tell it, which is you were trying to explain to him the difference between the cellist Yo-Yo Ma.
Oh, right, and how to say your mama.
And Yo Mama. Because he was confused about what was how do you say it? Is that right?
He said, well, because he had a very broad range of culture background, and he'd say, what's exactly the perfect spot to say it? And I said, if a cello player tells you, Mr. Bernstein, your downbeat on bar 41 was a little sloppy, you say, your mama.
Right.
That's what you said, but he'd just say yo-yo ma sometimes. And so.
Did he ever use it in the right context?
Yes, he did. We were in the Vatican. In fact, I went over there to do... No, seriously. And we were over there to do publicity for Michael Jackson on a Thriller tour, and he happened to be in town conducting the symphony, and he invited me for a private tour to go to the Vatican. And so everybody, 7 people, we're lying on the floor, which is totally forbidden in the Vatican when there's crowd that's in there. And so he's got his arm around my neck and he's explaining to me what's happening up there with Michelangelo and everything else. And so some Monsignor walks in and says, basta, basta, basta. They didn't recognize him because he's very famous there. And he said, yo, mama. I said, that's the right, that's the right inflection, but the wrong place.
You cannot be doing that in the Vatican.
Drunk dead, man.
I love him saying that.
He was really cool. He was so upset. He came in town, and I remember Wynton Marsalis, and he and I hung out all night long. I was 200 bottles of champagne. And he was so upset that he wasn't in We Are the World. It was amazing. He said, play it again. He said, I could have done that easily. I said, I didn't think you'd want to. There
must have been, I mean, you know, retroactively, there must have been a lot of people that said, oh, I was in town, I could have done that, you know, I wish I had been.
No, it was much more drastic than that. They said, why wasn't I in that?
Right, they were angry that they couldn't have got in that room.
You know, that's in hindsight, though, you know, it's all cool.
Now, looking through this book, again, all these impressive names, but I don't think I've ever talked to anybody who met, you actually, and dined with Picasso. You met and dined with Picasso.
Right.
What was that like?
When I first went to Paris to work for Barclay Records, in the summertime, they had a villa down there, and it was right next door to Le Californier. That's what Picasso painted a lot. And I remember seeing Jacqueline was there. That's when the women in '57 stopped wearing bras. You know, that was the big debut of that over in France. It started in France, naturally. And he had ducks and goats on the 3rd floor. You could see them running up and down. And one day we were down at a restaurant at the Corset with the Barclays, and he had some sole meuniere, and he took the bones after he finished and just pushed it out, the plate out in the sun so it got scorched. And he took colored pencils and took with a blue and a yellow and a red. And then when somebody said l'addition, which means the check, he pushed it out there like that, and the guy took that as the check. I said, that's the way I want to grow up.
that is pretty cool.
I could.
Well, also,
I could tear up some fish bones.
Yeah, that wouldn't work for all of us.
No.
I'm not going to try that tonight. Yeah, here you go. Conan O'Brien, huh?
Try that on a barbecue.
That's $5.50, buddy.
Try that on a barbecue.
I wish we had more time because there is so much to talk about. The autobiography is really fantastic, and it's a must-read. Autobiography of Quincy Jones Q. And, of course, this is a great thing to have. Your musical biography, which is a CD set. It's a real honor to have had you on the show.
Thanks
a lot for doing it.
Thank you.
Quincy Jones, Mark Maron is coming up. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.